I'm having right now, and uh, those are the insights I've been receiving from the readings. I think also just perhaps my personal revelations, but also the readings of Seneca in his letters to Lucilius, and some of that readings I will share with you, like give you a quote, um, in this video. And so, first, I want to start with my main thought that there is no way to good life except to face that which is bad and overcome it. Like, I don't think there's any way of escaping it. I don't think you can build a good life with a clear consciousness, escaping responsibilities you have, escaping the problems that you face. I don't think there's any way, because your consciousness would trouble you even if no one else would. It would punish you with the anxiety and fear. Perhaps you would be free of consequences, even if you would be free of consequences. Like, let's say a chance, a fortune, served you well, and nothing harms you, but you're still harmed by the anxiety you're left with, by the fear you have, uh, that is coming from your consciousness that judges you for not facing the hard things, for not being actually the one you could respect, for not unleashing and developing your highest capacity, right? I don't think there is a way that your consciousness would not trouble you with that. You can't not develop your and you know uh live out your potential and still have a satisfying life. Why? Because your consciousness would not be satisfied. And also because it will trouble you. It's not only will it not be satisfied, like enjoying, it will trouble you with anxiety and fear because you're not yet who you could be. You have not reached the potential. You're not actually worthy of whatever good and comfortable things you're having. You're not yet worthy of all of that luxuries you got, even if you have a good relationships, let's say, with someone. But those relationships have not been built on a solid ground, which has been like built by overcoming difficulties, let's say. The solid ground when you have been through a lot and you still persevered in a good sense. And now you can actually trust each other in the hardest time, in the times of crisis, because you know that you will not let each other down. And so, um, I don't think you can build a good relationship without what trying them out, uh, and testing them with the hard things. It's not only like testing, like I want to check. No, it's not a verification mark. It's actually the process of development and growth, which is in overcoming difficulties. So I think that all these difficulties, all these ugly and hard parts, they are the exact part of your growth and of your development. And I think you just can't have this growth and development without all these hard parts. And you can say, well, what would be the greatest growth you could have? And I think it would be that which is acquired through overcoming the greatest hardships. What are the greatest hardships? It is the greatest evil. It is the most hard, the most ugly, the most unpleasant. Something you wouldn't want 100%. It is hell. And I don't think that you can build heaven without facing and dealing and overcoming the hell and developing the competence to be the kind of person who would be capable to stay strong if all the hell would unleash. And I think most of us are not prepared. Most of us are so weak, are so lazy, so undisciplined, so self centered that if all the hell would unleash, that if chaos would emerge in society, we would just be instantly uh what? Led astray. And I think this is relational because this says, well, there is no escape in each of your choice. You're choosing the easy part or you're choosing the hard part. But the hard part is going to make you stronger and better, and the easy part is not going to do that. You know, they say, well, choose what is honorable to do. What is honorable to do? It's the hardest part. Because that which is easy, how can it be honorable? If it's been easy and you chose to do what is easy, how has it been honorable? How could it be? How could it be praiseworthy? How could it be admirable? You chose the easy path. I think sometimes the difficult path should be chosen just exactly for the sake of it being difficult. Because what is difficult, well, perhaps you can say, well, there are the sorts of difficult uh, sufferings and troubles that have no point and meaning. But well, if you can overcome those with a light heart and preserve your happiness, preserve yourself, isn't it already meaningful? It's not purposeless, it's not meaningless, because it's have developed the strengths in you. And so all these difficulties, they not just matter, they are needed to be overcome for you to grow. You need that hell, and you need to go through that. And there is no other way for you to become better and for you to actually have a good life. There is no escape, no for women, no for kids who actually would want to grow into competent and responsible adults. There is no escape. I think there's been a phrase of Andrew Tate that, and I think uh, in Russian speaking community, it's been Arsene Markaryan, if someone knows him. And so they shared, let's say, this idea that happiness is for kids and children, but man should stay strong. And this, this is an appealing idea, and I don't have anything against it. This is very appealing idea because I think it comes from love, that you want to take the hard part on yourself and you want to give the easy part to people you love. But I think this is overprotecting love, and it's not the right kind of attitude. Why? Because whoever you love, you want them to be self-sufficient. You want them to be capable. You don't want them to be harmless. You don't want them 100% be dependent on you. You want them to keep going and have strength to stay the ground even if you would die. That's what you would want for your kids. And that's what you need to want for your wife and for your children. There is no good way for anyone to have a good life, escaping the hard path, escaping the problems, escaping the things you do want to avoid because they're hard and terrible and they're problematic and troublesome. But you need all of them to grow because they're troublesome exactly proportionally to your incompetence. And as you would attend to them and resolve them, you would grow in your competence. Even if you didn't need the resolution in themselves, you needed that which built your resistance. Because you don't want to trouble before the hard things. Why? Because the hard things do come along. The hard things, they they're all round actually, and you are naive if you think that they wouldn't come your way. Have a chamomile tea. um so you need all of it, and you need to face it, and you don't want to leave something out there that is harder than you would be able to face. You want to be able to face and to deal with hell, because this what you truly want if you act out of love. You don't want the people you love to be what? Vulnerable to unpredictable threat. You want to be prepared, and you want to be competent enough to deal with that. To anything that can come your way. And anything is the worst thing, because you want to be ready, because you want to make sure the people you love are safe. And if you truly love them, you want them to be ready too. You want them to be capable too, and you want them to be competent as well. Because I do think that is something to make everyone dependent on you. This is not love. This is what? Dominion covered in pittance or empathy. I think the love, true love, I think it wants for the other what it wants for itself, right? So it doesn't consider the other less capable and important than itself. And if it doesn't, I think, well, perhaps it wants to lighten up your burden out of love, but, well, it also wants you to be capable and strong enough to do it yourself when you would need to, and be prepared for no all the hardships there can be. And then I do think that's what um parents want for their kids, for example, right? They want their kids to uh what be prepared for the difficulties of life, right? They don't want them to always stay immature. If they want the best for them, they want them to grow in competence. And those are the overprotecting parents that are actually more controlling, that uh what? Who fail to, I think, help their kids to become self-sufficient and deal with things on their own. To help them kids to become stronger. A good trainer is not the one who solves each problem for you. A good trainer is the one who is capable to train you so you would not need him anymore. Right? The good trainer is the one who can make you to be him or better. And that's would be a good parent too, because if you truly love someone, you would want him to be no less capable than you. Well, that's why this would be a strange um, agenda to want your kids and your wife to be what, or to deal with less problem than you do, because, well, how is she supposed to grow then? If she doesn't deal with any hardships, if she doesn't deal with problems, how would she grow? You know, it's probably not what you want for her. You probably want her to grow. You probably do want her to be an equal partner of yours. Why? Because there is no better sharing as the sharing between equals, right? Why? Because when you try to share whatever would it be, the resources or the information, uh, from down to up hierarchy, it's harder because then, well, the hierarchy assumes the distance. That's it. What do you know about that person who is in upper position? You're not in that position. So what the hell do you know? And it's there are the problems of misunderstandings, the problems of what? Uh Arrogance of the upper position and distrust of the lower position, you know. Um so maybe you do want a relatively equal partner, not in, let's say, exact things you do, but perhaps at least what, morally equal partner, you know. Um and then it's also more interesting for you because, well, when you sit around, especially let's say you're in a higher position, right? Or let's say you're in a room with people and you are way more competent than these people around you, you know. Yes, you are the center, but how long would it be exciting for you to be the only center? I mean, it would be if you are a complete narcissist, perhaps, but if you are a sane man who wants um a fair share in things, right? So he um wants a fair exchange, right? Not least for you, because people don't like to be in debt. Okay, people don't like to be in a position of constant receival, right? They don't like constantly receive because they feel indebted, and people don't like to feel indebted because debt feels as a burden. And uh when if even if you want to constantly give out of a goodwill for the other person, I don't think this is a good will for him actually, because, well, would you want to be in a position where the only thing you can do is receive and you can't give? Well, why you probably wouldn't, and why wouldn't you? The reason is because if you the what you wouldn't be able to give only if there would be nothing you can offer which would be of use. for the other side, right? And you don't want to be in this position. You want to have something valuable to offer, something valuable enough which would be accepted by the other party. And that's why sane men want an equal or fair share, because um, out of a goodwill they want not only to give but to receive, because they consider the other party to be valuable in as much as they are, right? Okay, so if you think there's something valuable, you do want it. Okay, the only reason for you not to want something is because there would be no value in it. So you probably will want the people you love to be able to have something of value, right? And you would want them to be capable to present it. And for this reason, you probably would like them to be fairly equal to you. Now, this is a good question in which measure, because you don't want them to be completely the same as you are, because why the hell would you need them if they are just you? You already have you need what you don't have, not what you already have, right? So you probably would want, um people around you, people you love, to be some sort of authentic and different, right? um because that's also how you win more, by having what fulfilled that which you didn't have, not what you already have, right? So, well, that makes you more fulfilled. um and so probably you would need to have the same treatment for yourself. Okay, so you want to be as capable as possible. You want yourself to be able to provide the highest value you can. You want to have something of value to provide in the first place. And what kind of things are of value? And I think the kind of things not only which satisfy our desires and needs, but also which provide solutions to our problems, because they are problems and they are things which are troublesome, and they are things which are even horrifying to us, things that confuse us, and what things we are yet to comprehend, so we would not get completely lost in life. And I mean, we do know that I think many people do get lost in life quite often, more often than they are willing to admit. And we all know that they are things that confuse us. And, well, someone should deal with them, or they will be always confusing to incompetent people, We need to build our competence for that. Uh, and we can't do it only by facing it. Um, and as I said, I want to share with you this quote of um, Seneca from his letters to Lucilius. And I think that was 98th letter, if I'm not wrong, um, or 96, right? Um, Let me read to you. So, okay, first, a little bit of introduction. He says basically that, well, bad things, the problems and the troubles, they don't come as a chance, they come as a rule. They all around us, and you can be sure that they will come if they didn't yet. Um, he writes, nay, that was an understatement. It was an inevitable things. So, okay, well, maybe I needed to start a little bit earlier. He writes, I am ill, but that is a part of my lot. My slaves have fallen sick, my income has gone off, my house is rickety, I have been assailed by losses, accidents, toil, and fear. This is a common thing. Nay, that was an understatement. It was an inevitable thing. So all the problems and troubles, they are not just common, they are inevitable in our lives. And again, if we're not naive, we have to prepare. What do you prepare for? For the worst possible trouble. And that is hell. Hell is the worst possible. Well, and you do want to be prepared for that, because how else are you going to be heaven, if you can resist the hell, and okay, I've been talking about it in other videos. Now let me continue reading. He says, such affairs come by order and not by accident. When everything seems to go hard and uphill, I have trained myself not merely to obey God, but to agree with his decisions. I follow him because my soul wills it and not because I must. And then he writes about, again, all these hard things, and he says, things, my dear Lucilius, which. So he names them, and then he says, things, my dear Lucilius, which you should never hope and never seek to escape. So well, that was an inspiration of this video, because this is an interesting part. He says, well, again, what are the honorable things? The things of God, the things God would tell you to do, admirable things, moral things. And I think those are exactly the hard things. And he says, I not only have learned to obey it, I have learned to desire it. This is a rich lesson, because you can't even obey it truly and conform it truly, resist it truly, if you don't want it with all you have. How are you supposed to resolve the hardest things if that's not what you want? And then, well, why would you want it? And you would want it because you would know that this is good for you, to resist the hell and face the hardest things, because in this way he says God's will is not only should be obeyed and followed, it is also good, and I also learned to desire it. um okay, yeah, he writes, but to agree with his decisions, so he learned to see the good in it, right? And then he says you should never hope and seek to escape these things, because if you can't deal with it, you can't do what it requires to build heaven, to live a good life, because you become better by growing, and you grow by attending to problems and finding resolutions. Okay. I think there was something else I would want to read for you. Okay, so this is very interesting. He says, and yet life, Lucilius, is really a battle. For this reason, those who are tossed about at sea, who proceed uphill and downhill over toilsome crags and heights, who go on campaigns that bring the greatest danger, are heroes and front rank fighters. Okay, so he says life is a battle, and the people who choose to do the hardest things, they are the heroes and front rankers because life is a battle. That is such a good way to see it because, who is the person on whom everyone would rely on at a hard time? Well, it's a person who can manage the hard things. It, a person who can manage the hard times and stay good still. And this is, again, as I talked in the previous videos, the kind of goodness that surpasses the hardship, surpasses the evil, surpasses the greatest hardships, the greatest evil. This is the greatest goodness. Not an absence of it, but the one that remains good in the presence of it, because it overpowers it, it suppresses and transcends it. Okay, so uh, I'll continue his quote. But persons who live in rotten luxury and ease while others toil are mere turtle doves, safe only because men despise them. So you see, people don't even like um those who can't bear the troubles, who can't bear the hardships, the problems. Ah, even more because there's not only problems and troubles, there is worse than that, and that is evil. That is selfishness and malevolence for other people, for example. That is the cruelty of life, the misfortune, and etc. So there is something just worse. That there is a kind of problems that are called far worse than problems, that have another name for that. There is a tyranny and dictatorship. There is a slavery, um, egocentricity, malevolence, bitterness, resentment, and all kinds of things that make life not only troublesome but hell-like, so much that death feels as escape, as solution. Death feels preferable. Imagine that. Well, that is hell. So there are all these kinds of things in life which are greater than just troubles. They have other names for that. Um, and, well, who is gonna stay strong in the presence of it all? Well, that would be the most reliable person. That would be the kind of person all people would want to be and to rely on. But this is a hard way to be. This is a hard uh, path, but this is a good path. It is perhaps the only good path, which actually each one should have. And each one should have in love and desire it for the other in love. Because that is the way of increasing the competence. That is the way of growth. That is the way of development. That is the way of goodness in overcoming the evil. Because, not only troubles, not only problems, but evil. They are the kinds of things that can be called that. Um, yeah, but persons who live in rotten luxury and ease while others toil are merely safe because men despise them. Yeah, so if you would actually have all the world turning against you, all the hell unleashes, and you would see your wife and your kids not dealing with that, not helping you with that, not even searching to find the solutions, well, you would despise them. Trust me. If they would not want in their heart to help you, if they would not want in their heart to deal with all that hard things, you would know they don't love you. Yeah, because, well, maybe that's what is love. It's to bear the hell for the other person, to be ready to face and bear the hell for the other person, just as Christ has bear the cross, right? Um, okay, let me see if there is anything more that I would want to read to you, because those letters are just something I would everyone recommend reading it. Okay, and so he also says something about wickedness, the evils of life. He says we degenerate easily because we lack neither guides nor associates in our wickedness, and the wickedness goes on of itself, even without guides or associates. The road to vice is not only downhill but steep. And we should not forget this, that they are vices, they are truly bad things which could be a part of us. This is the hard reality. Not only there is hell to meet and evils, it could be us. If we fail to do otherwise, it would be us. Okay, the person that lacks purpose and meaning, or what? The person who fails completely even to care about purpose and meaning, well, that is hell too. Well, he lives in his micro hell for sure, because then he causes it to other people. You can't get rid of consequences here. He can't find meaning. He cares nothing of meaning. Well, how does he treat people who do find meaning? Who do fight even for meaning? Who do speak meaningful things? If he doesn't see the value in it, he mistreats it. He mistreats everything that is valuable because he doesn't care for it. Right? And so we should remember this. This is the other side of the problem. He says, well, you should not forget, every man enjoys his own crimes. This is the problem. And only we do wrong things. But the problem isn't that people often enjoy doing wrong things, they enjoy their crimes. Mm. And he says that, well, people try to cover it up because they don't want it to be revealed, because they enjoy it secretly and they don't want to get punished for it. But then he also says, but there is no escape from the punishment of crimes, because I'll read it to you. Because the first and worst penalty of sin is to have committed sin. Crimes can be well guarded. You can save yourself from the punishment. Free from anxiety, they cannot be. Good luck frees many men from punishment, but no man from fear. It is the property of guilt to be in fear. And then a little bit down, he writes, in a place of suffering, the punishment comes fear. Those men who do the wrong things, who don't live up to their potential, they are not safe whatsoever. This is very important to know. They are not safe from hell. Hell is already reaches them because they are punished by their consciousness. They're punished by fear that they are lacking something. They're punished by fear that they don't do what is good. They don't do what is enough. Maybe they can escape the punishment of other people. Maybe they can even escape a natural, like, sort of. Maybe they can still be secure and safe, but they can't be safe and secure from their consciousness. There is a sword. That's what Seneca writes. Then there is a sword of natural judgment. It is the judgment of consciousness. So, well, you can't escape that. Even if you think you do, you would be troubled by anxiety. You would be troubled by bitterness, because deep down you know the potential. You could see the potential for something good, for the resisting all the troubles, for, the potential for solving the problems you had. You didn't. You took the easy path. Well, that will destroy you, because maybe you can save yourself and secure yourself from the consequences under the somewhat fortunate case, but you won't be able to free yourself from anxiety. That's why hell should be met and fought through. So, yeah, that'll be it for this. Maybe I'll do the second part, but that'll be it for this video.